What up, it's Casper. Today's video I'm going to be talking about the 4th episode of Tulsa King Season 2. 4th episode of Tulsa King Season 2 is called Heroes and Villains, directed by Joshua Marston, and it's 44 minutes. So with the 4th episode literally being attacked a lot of different ways in this episode, a lot of stuff are coming from a lot of different directions. A lot of key pieces are actually being added to this Tulsa King show now. Absolutely didn't know where it came from. Right away, really enjoyed the fact that we have the same director, Joshua Marston, on board for the directing of the 4th episode. We're coming from a last episode where the tensions and the overthinking and what did I just do type of scenario just happened. The last episode, Dwight Manfredi almost got assassinated. People on Manfredi's team like Goody, I thought he was about to turn on Manfredi, but ends up showing how loyal he is to Manfredi, and they basically kill a made man. The stakes are very high right now. A lot of these mafia bosses from the other side, especially the ones who sent to kill Manfredi, they're going through a lot of stuff now. So the fact that this episode is bringing up that intensity and that recap vibe that we're like, oh shoot, they actually did kill somebody from their side. Now let's see how this is gonna progress. The last episode ended with the body being brought to Bill, and the fact that it's a message saying like, hey, we're not gonna play your game. Really questioning what actions are these people gonna take towards Manfredi, because there's definitely gonna be something that has to happen now since you killed a made man's right hand man. That vibe from the last one definitely was transitioning to this 4th episode. 3 and 4 could have been like a movie type of feel, especially in the beginning scene. This episode is gonna come through with a lot of emotion. Pretty crazy the fact that they slowly but surely brought all these intense emotions of going through an attempt like that. So in the beginning scene, I really liked how Tyson and Dwight end up going to go talk to Bodhi. Definitely tell that they've been through a lot of stuff. The fact that Tyson went through something like that, and especially trying to keep it on the low, you can see that his character is going through it a lot. This episode was like an actor's episode. There was still the Tulsa King vibe, but this was an actor's episode. We got more screen time from a lot of our favorite actors, especially Tyson, and Bodhi got some screen time in here where I was like, yo, this is their episode right here to shine. Really enjoyed when Tyson was stepping up for the whole gang basically and trying to inspire them, because Bodhi, being Bodhi, once again has to get himself involved with something else that Dwight Manfredi is doing on the other side of the road. Bodhi just feels like he's just trying to get this business done without having to deal with the mafia stuff. The writing supported a lot of that feel, and the actors supported the writing, if that makes sense. Like, it was just a back and forth complimenting vibe. The writers knew how to attack these characters' persona, and I feel like these characters knew exactly how to put off those lines. They felt it right away, and they put out those emotions, and I feel straightforward, and if you can feel it as an audience person watching. Tyson stepped it up. They gave him the cool lines, to be honest. That scene wasn't corny at all. I forgot to mention from the last episode, Dwight ended up moving into a neighborhood because his daughter's moved in now. New characters being brought in. Dwight's dealing with like a Ken neighbor, and I really enjoyed the fact that they inserted that type of character who's just overboard and just really trying to keep the neighborhood neat and clean. That was an interesting character, and very funny how his character finds out who Manfredi is. Good fill-in character. The fact that they gave him a good enough screen time, really dope. And like I said, flowing on from the 3rd to 4th episode, we can see a lot of more faces on the screen now. The fact that we saw Tyson do his thing, especially in the beginning, very dope, real, and you can see his character growing really strong. So I'm really enjoying that. Bodhi had a lot of lines in here. Once again, like from last season, Dwight and Bodhi are in the back of the SUV again, and very hilarious that now we got Manfredi basically enjoying an edible. So very funny how he's cool with the tree aspect of the episode, that, you know, they're so heavily involved with it. Like I said, there's a lot of interesting things going on. We're dealing with more cultures. We have the Indian tribe being involved, and we also have like the Chinese mafia involved as well. More of those groups that are doing their own thing in secret. This episode did a really good job on showing what business Manfredi's gonna deal with, and really like the lines for that business deals. Thought it was very realistic, and you could feel like the tension rising because now Cal Thresher is just definitely trying to do his own thing and trying to like basically get in front of Manfredi before Manfredi gets there. Still trying to use Armand in this episode, so that was something that's an interesting position that Armand's in. There's another concern, especially with Dwight Manfredi's group, so very insane. This episode episode brought a very unique angles and different perspectives of just how mafia stuff is getting done. So I was mentioning with the Indian tribes and then the Chinese mafia as well, they're all doing their own thing. So in this episode, we're getting more in depth on how other crime is being involved and how much money they actually make with all these grimy moves. Writing for this episode brought a lot of cool concrete detail on different mafia cultures. Not only just mafia cultures, just people who own a lot of stuff. They're just doing their own work on the evil side. We got Chicky in here actually trying to do his own thing as well. For some odd reason with this episode, Chicky ends up kind of like burning himself out. We see him doing what he does best, burning himself out, and doing what he does best, trying to act like he is a boss, burned himself out. And then also one of his men, Chicky, now has a hold of Bill. So now they're still trying to take out Manfredi, doing things under the table. I thought that was realistic. A lot of the stuff that's happening, especially on Chicky's side, is something that I believe would happen, especially with all these mafia perspectives. I really believe a lot of this stuff happening in this episode will happen as well. You see a lot of people still trying to lead the race, if that makes sense, and you see a lot of people not trying to give up as well. Very unique characteristics from a lot of people. So shout out to the acting in this episode. That's why I was saying like this was an actor's episode. Shout out to this episode giving back to the audience on seeing some stuff that we want to see, some gore, some crazy hardcore mob life type of thing, and the camera angles, camera quality, placement, all had a movie vibe, especially with the third and fourth episode that all felt like just one episode. This episode flew. On the fourth episode, Stallone is still doing an amazing job on his mafia Don boss type of vibe. He's doing a great job still. A lot of the emotion, especially the one-on-one acting, having to tell his sister what happened, and you could see with the prior episodes on how he just kind of tried to go around the bush and basically not tell her what really happened. Shout out to Stallone on making a lot of those emotions, the presentation, and the way he's following through with putting out this crazy feeling that I could only imagine not many people have felt on having to like take somebody out like that. Stallone is putting out a great performance. He's not looking slow at all. He's not looking lazy. With the other mafia bosses like Cal Thresher in this episode, we basically are seeing Cal Thresher put out his persona and put out his vibe and his characteristics. We see a little bit more. So shout out to the actor who's playing Cal Thresher, doing a great job as well. Really enjoying his vibe, adding a little bit more screen time to his character, and with the more screen time we get, especially with Kyle Thresher, the more of a grimy boss he is. The tension is building, especially with Kyle Thresher. Now he's going to deal with the Chinese mafia in this episode. So let's see what type of business happens now that Kyle Thresher is involving more people. This story is literally going to about to end up, I don't know where. It's a huge tornado right now, but in a good, exciting, adventurous way. Something that we're anticipating like crazy. So I cannot wait for the fifth episode. On point with the fourth episode. Nothing wrong with the music score in this one. The costume design in this episode is on point. Get used to these characters in this fourth episode. This is an episode, especially with these characters, this is not gonna be the last time we see these people. Craziness is barely unfolding, I feel like, so let's get it. After my watching the fourth episode of season 2 Tulsa King, Heroes and Villains, out of 10, I'm gonna have to give this episode a 9 out of 10. That's my review for the fourth episode, season 2 of Tulsa King. Shout out to you guys for tuning into the video. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, y'all.